Well, it's time we talk about Shiva Baby. Welcome to the Film Threat Podcast. I am Chris Gore. I hope you're having a great day today. It's always a great day for me when I get to talk to a filmmaker whose debut movie blew my mind. It's funny. It's weird. It plays like also kind of a thriller, which is odd. The tone of Shiva Baby is amazing, and I'm so excited to talk to the filmmaker. One thing I need to remind you of, our annual event, Award This, is happening on Sunday, April 18th. That's right. You can join us. It is the biggest night for independent film, and we've culled together some incredible nominees in categories across the spectrum. I'll let John Bailey tell you all about it.
In a world where every award show is a fucking Zoom call, comes Award This. From your pals at Film Threat comes a celebration of true independent films. Join us on April 10th at a socially distanced drive-in. In fact, I'll be there as your announcer, wearing a hazmat suit and inside a giant Bacta tank. And prepare for a virtual award show unlike any other ever in the history of mankind, or awards kind. Award This 2021. It's happening, whether you like it or not. Drive-in live event on Saturday, April 10th. Virtual award show on Sunday, April 18th. Get tickets now at awardthis.com.
I hope you join us on the 18th for Award This. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now, this movie, Shiva Baby, and I hope I'm saying it right. I hope I am. Emma Seligman is here. Shiva Baby. First of all, so blown away by this movie.
Thank you.
Incredible cast. It all takes place in one day at a Shiva, which there's so much drama, so much and then tension also that secrets may be revealed. Obviously, this must have been inspired by some real events, at least from going to a Shiva. Can you explain what a Shiva is, and also all the things that inspired this really amazing debut feature?
Thank you. Well, yeah, a Shiva is a post-funeral gathering in the Jewish faith, and it lasts 7 days. But in the film, it takes place on the first day of the Shiva, which is right after the funeral on the first day. So that's like, I think the closest comparison I think would be a wake, an Irish wake. And yeah, I've been to plenty of Shivas in my time. I grew up in a very tight Jewish community, and everyone sort of knew each other. So, I ended up going to Shivas a lot for people I didn't know. So I always thought they were really funny settings because there's just, for me in my community, like everyone talks like as if it's any other like family event. Like there's just the same amount of eating and bragging and nosy questions and stuff like that. So I always just thought it was funny that like the mood didn't really shift even though someone had died. So I've been to a bunch of those, and then there were a lot of sugar babies at NYU, and it was a huge part of the community, or a community within among the female students and some male students as well. So I just wanted to make something achievable for my thesis film that I felt like I could understand and, speak well to and write dialogue easily for. And for me, definitely writing something within a Jewish family occasion was the easiest thing to do for me. And then, like a sexual coming of age story, I think was something that felt important to me as well. So that's how it came to be. I never ran into my sugar daddy at a Shiva specifically, but I definitely put in sort of things here and there, especially from the Shiva side, for my life.
Well, I think that's, what you just said, I think explains why the film feels so authentic. It's from your experience. How did you, I know it was based on a short, right? So you made the short, and then the feature was, I think it was set to debut at South by Southwest, and then it got,
Yeah.
everything went down. It ended up playing other festivals though, but I'm just curious how people have reacted to it. This is just one of those films, and I just wonder if you had an opportunity to watch the feature in a room of people, before everything got locked down, because I really feel that this is a crowd pleaser. I know that sounds weird, but like one that just like you could feel in the room, the tension. I mean, I watched the film just by myself, but I felt tense at times. But did you get a chance to see it with people?
Not really. I mean, we did some test screenings way before the film was finished, to sort of figure out the cut as we were getting through it, but that wasn't the same thing. And it was for like groups of friends and stuff like that. No, we had finished the film half an hour before we found out that South by Southwest was canceled due to COVID. And then, the only time I saw it in a theater was at TIFF, which was amazing because it was the first time I saw it on a big screen. But at the time, and it's still, I don't even think theaters are open at all right now in Canada or in Toronto. But at the time, there were only like 40 people in the audience in this like 500 seat theater. So I couldn't really gauge the reaction. And my dad's laugh is also just like louder than everyone else's laughs combined. So it didn't feel the same way. But I don't know. It is playing now in theaters, so I hope to be able to go and sneak into one and just sort of go incognito and pretend, I'm just a regular movie theater goer.
Well, theaters, have finally opened on the West Coast, which is really encouraging. Although I've been going to the drive-in this whole time, so I mean, it's I don't know. It's a great way. We're doing our award show at a drive-in.
Yeah,
that's a great way to experience and also feel safe. The cast for this film. I mean, I feel just as a young filmmaker, this is your debut feature. It's so remarkable the performances that you got out of this incredible cast. And some actors were familiar to me and some seem at least brand new. How did you pull together this cast? And then I guess just working with actors seems to come natural to you. I mean, I don't know, but can you explain how you pulled this amazing cast together and what went into that?
Sure. Well, Rachel Sennett, who plays Danielle, the lead character, was in the short film. So she stayed on, which felt really important to me because I felt like she was a big reason the short film had success. So we kept her on, and she's definitely an unknown, and especially when we were casting everyone when we were shooting, she was definitely an unknown. She's a comic, so she has a following online and stuff, but less in sort of the actor community. We started working with an incredible casting director named Kate Geller, who was willing to work on this movie, as many people were, for very little. But she knew what to do and just sort of helped us make offers to all the other wonderful actors that we have in the movie. So it was really a combination of just offering to people. And then for the other smaller characters, Kate turned to the New York Jewish theater community, and we just sort of collected it together. I mean, it was an incredible cast, and I feel so lucky, and I still can't believe I got to work with everybody. It was definitely a pinch me moment when I was on set, and it felt very surreal, especially to be working with like Fred Malamed, who I love so much from A Serious Man, and Diana Agron and Molly Gordon and Polly Draper. It was pretty crazy, and every actor is so different, which I think that was a huge learning experience for me, and I'm sure one that I'll continue to have to figure out, because every actor wants to be directed in a different way, or has an easier way of communicating, or needs less or more when it comes to different things. So it was interesting to see everyone on this cast was really different. Fred Malamed is like a total theater dude who like needs to have every single line before his like be his cue perfectly, and like if it's not, then he's like thrown off. I mean, he's not difficult or anything, but he's got every line and every single tiny little detail memorized, versus like Molly Gordon, who never says the same line twice, and Polly Draper will just improvise entire like bits out of nowhere. that she didn't tell me about. So everyone's really different, but I feel so lucky that I got the chance to work with this cast.
And you had babies. That's not.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, seriously, that's
Yeah.
difficult. They say like children and animals. Like,
Yeah.
so we'll talk about that. Would you have any advice to filmmakers that are? I rarely see indie films that have babies. Let's just say that.
Yeah. That's a great point. You shouldn't get babies if you're on an indie film. If you are on your fourth film or whatever it is, or it's a studio movie, or you have more money, then you can do it the proper way where there is, I have no idea what this even is. We were so far removed from this, but a proper protocol of finding the right, babies to cast that are not going to be, I don't know, like not going to be babies and cry when they're out of their mother's arms. We literally, I don't know. On this short film, it was equally difficult, and it was only for one day. And so I don't know what I was thinking going into the feature, but obviously the baby is like the most important part of the movie, other than, Rachel, like in terms of like the symbolism. Oh my God, it was a nightmare. I mean, the poor kid, his name's Edgar. And we were basically, we used my producer's friend's baby. We were just like, does anyone know a baby? Because it was a bunch of like 24-year-olds, like writing and directing, like producing, like the whole crew is just very young and fresh out of school. So none of us knew anyone with babies. And so we were like, anyone know anyone with a friend who has a baby? And that's the baby we got. And he was incredible. But he just cried every time he was away from his mom, and taken out of her arms. And there's nothing really you can do about that. But so one advice I'll say is, if you need a baby in your independent film, adapt to knowing that it's just going to cry. So figure out a way to make it work with them crying. Because that's what we had to do. All these scenes were written for the baby not to be crying, and then he was crying. So we just had to like shift. And then there were a few small scenes where I was like, he can't cry. So if he's going to cry, like he just can't be in them. And that was on the last day. We were saving all these moments. And I was just like, I just want to get the scene. Like if he can't cooperate, he's out. But thankfully Diana Agron and Danny DeFerrari, who played Max and Kim, took him away from his mom, sounds so horrible, and had him in their arms for long enough that he finally, after like an hour and a half, started to calm down, because they were like whisper singing Wheels on the Bus to him. And then eventually, like as we were like getting the baby, who was now sleeping, like to the spot we needed him to be, not crying, the whole crew was like just gently whispering Wheels on the Bus. And like I was like, no one can make a sound, like no one can move. So that was our experience. It was challenging. I think that was probably the most challenging part of the onset experience, for sure.
Wow, Wheels on the Bus. Who would have thought
Yeah.
that would be the secret? How does it feel now to have a film that, like, I love these movies that are like seasonal movies. They take place during, the holidays or Thanksgiving, or there are a lot of horror films that seem to have every holiday checked off. This is, this is an event, right? A Shiva. I kind of feel like this is now going to be a movie that people go to, maybe would they show it at a Shiva? I don't know if that's appropriate. But how does that feel? How does that feel? It's just very interesting.
I think that I don't know. I didn't think like, oh, I want to do something that no one's seen before in terms of like a specific holiday. I think I chose it for the reasons I said earlier. I just think there's inherent contrast in the way that it's set up, at least within a very reform community. I don't think this isn't the kind of, there are millions of different kinds of Shivas because there's so many different kinds of Jewish communities. So this is not like by any means like an Orthodox, this is not how it goes, in the sort of by the book. But I don't know, I guess it's kind of cool that I didn't know if people knew about Shivas, that much, but I feel like there's always, not always, but there's been Shiva scenes in many films and shows before, including A Serious Man. And if you can remember, like the cops come up to his house and he was like, "We're sitting Shiva." And they were like, "What?" Because it takes place in the 60s. And he's like, "Someone is dead." And they're all wearing black. So I don't know. I guess it kind of feels cool to like make a movie about an event that I haven't really seen another movie tackle in the same way. But I will say there's been tons of movies that take place at funerals, like Death at a Funeral, and August Osage County is sort of surrounding a funeral. I watched a lot of funeral movies to prep for this. So yeah.
So
Just
now
kind of feel in line with those.
you've added to the genre now.
Yes.
That's cool. And then what's funny, you mentioned Sugar Daddy earlier. I feel like they in the world of indie film, they're called executive producers. That's how seriously, just having made films myself, it's like you're looking for that executive producer to pay for it all.
Bankroll the movie. Yeah.
So now you're at the end of this experience. What are your thoughts and what are you taking into the next project? I assume you have something else that you're working on.
I think I want to make something a little less personal. Still personal, but I'm like so exhausted from trying to just go back to a part of my life that didn't feel great. So Rachel Sennett, who plays Danielle, she's, like I said, a comedian and a great writer. So her and I have been working on a script for a while that's much more campy and silly. And it's very broad. It's a campy high school sex comedy with 2 queer female leads. So I'm really excited for that, and hopefully that goes soon. We've been working on it for quite a bit. And just I'm trying to maybe potentially adapt like a pilot about sugar babies. We'll see. And I don't know, I feel like I'm finally at a point in my career where I can like look at other people's material and see if I can have a perspective on theirs, and not necessarily have to like pull from all my Shiva experiences in order to make a film. So we'll see. I'm trying to everything's uncertain in these times specifically. So trying to keep it, trying to play it by ear.
Great. Emma, thanks for joining us on the Film Threat podcast. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.